Hey John, how are you doing?
Doing good. How's it going?
Good, good. I'm doing super well. Thanks for hopping on. I appreciate you taking the time. I had the blessing of connecting with you on LinkedIn, and we got to hop on a call a few weeks ago, which was great. So I'm really excited to have you on and just chat about kind of what you're up to. So why don't we just start with you introducing yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to match your energy of like relaxed and laid back. So, um,
Good.
yeah, that's cool. So, yeah, my name is Jon Rhoades, from the Grand Island area. Live in Aurora. Been here quite a while. So, used to live out at a kids camp on the river called Timberlake Ranch Camps, and so yeah, definitely a native to the area. But yeah, it's great to meet up with you again.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I kind of met you and learned about you through 1 Million Cups coming to Grand Island like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And so tell me, like, how did you get involved in that? And just like you're very clearly like passionate about just entrepreneurship in general and like, the startup kind of vibe in this area. So what led you to get to that point?
Oh man, that's a great story. So, okay, it started during the pandemic, right? As every good story does nowadays.
Yeah.
There was a world-ending event called the pandemic. We survived. However, I was bored, right? So, there was we're all working at home. There was another guy, Chad Johnson, and he was building something called the Grain Weevil, and it's a robot. If you're in the Midwest, you've probably heard of it. It drives on the grain, kind of stirs stuff up, right? Um, well, it was really fun, like being a part of that. My kids were in robotics, watching Chad go through the process of starting a company with his son. And it's like, man, like if Chad can do it, so can I. So the first thing I did was sat down and, started buying books on Audible and then, getting them on Amazon and basically just read everything I could about startups, right? And so, yeah, make a long story short, that led to a project. Pitched a concept to my company at the time. Got a little bit of funding to open up an office in Grand Island called Co-Found. That led to kicking off this whole like kind of monthly thing we called Idea Storms. And then a couple years ago, we kind of like shuttered that, right? Um, and we were looking for, what's the next thing? And I had been attending 1 Million Cups in Lincoln and Omaha, kind of bouncing back and forth just to get to know other people in the Nebraska startup ecosystem. So just threw out a quick note, hey, would we be able to do this in Grand Island? And they said, sure, if you got enough support. Well, we got enough support. And last November, we launched it. And yeah, that's kind of how it came to be. So
That's super cool. Well, it is funny you say that. I don't know. Do you watch Shark Tank at all?
yes, I do. I love Shark Tank. It has like no reflection on what real startups are, but like yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I feel like every Shark Tank pitch at this point, like when they're asked about the history, does start with like, oh yeah, like after COVID or like during COVID, like during that time. So I totally agree. What were some of like the books that you read? Well, I mean, you said you realized you're like, okay, I kind of want to start my own thing. Like, what were some of the books you read and resources you found that were helpful when you were just getting going?
Yeah, I got a list. But I think it started with the Lean Startup, which then led to like the $100 startup, and then the 4 Hour Work Week, and um, yeah, I think those were kind of like the four like early most influential ones, and then yeah, then read books like Traction and things like that, and so then I just started asking the same question you asked, like, what book should I read next? So
Very cool. Yeah. Tell me about what was co-found. Like, what was that all about?
yeah, so Co-Found was the idea was around like how do we build jobs in Central Nebraska? Because let's be honest, no developer is like leaving college and saying like, man, Grand Island, Nebraska is on my wish list. How could we do that? Well, it starts by building an ecosystem or a center of excellence. And so the idea was, man, if we could build a vibrant community, you probably only need one or two startups to really make it exciting. People that are building things, and if we could do that, startups are or entrepreneur types and technology and startups and all of that are very near to jobs, right? And so we're probably not going to build a big ecosystem around just developers. But we want to invite those tech people in. So let's see, like, let's build build the bigger ecosystem and start pulling it all together so that, it is a very similar vibe. So,
Yeah, I gotcha. Um, what was it like trying to start that like creating that ecosystem? Because I feel like that's like a huge undertaking. Where did you start with that?
um, yeah, I mean, we started just connecting to Grand Island. We got a little bit of support once we were into it from Grow Grand Island, which was awesome. That allowed us to run some really cool events and grow it. And then from there, it's all just like connection. It's like, who do you know? We were willing to like talk to anybody. Um, Grand Island Chamber at that time, or sorry, EDC. There was uh, um, there was a director there that was like really willing to like just shove people our direction and kind of believed in what we were doing. And so he was going to like Omaha with us
Wow.
to meet other people, which is a privilege that I don't think many businesses get, is to have the EDC director like go on a road trip with you. But
Yeah.
so yeah, it was. I think it started with like just being humble and asking and not acting like you knew everything, and people just pitched in. So
That's cool. Then so then shortly after that, where you wanted, you were going to Lincoln Omaha to going to 1 million cups and wanting to bring
right.
that to Grand Island. How was that process like? Like, you know, did you find that there was a strong like desire for it here? And was it harder than you thought, easier than you thought to bring something like that to Grand Island?
I'll be honest. Like when we first started bringing 1 million cups to Grand Island, I didn't believe we could pull it off. Um, I didn't think the Grand Island was the place that had the support to do something like that. And that was kind of built off of watching idea storms and co-found kind of like wane in its popularity. But what we did different this time was we were like, all right, we're not starting this until we get at least 6 volunteers, and then we got 6 volunteers. It was like, okay, great. Let's find 8. And so finally we had this big like swell of people that were okay, yeah, we're gonna push this thing forward. And it's like, hey, and we all kind of committed to like if nobody else shows up, at least there's 8 people there on a weekly basis,
Yeah.
and we'll go 6 months and see what happens. Instead, what happened was, I mean, now we've got easily 20 people showing up, 20 to 30 people showing up, and most of those are not supporters, so or the organizers. So
Right. Yeah. That's super cool because like yeah I guess you obviously starting something new like that I feel like is difficult in a new area where like entrepreneurship startup culture like that, bringing that to an area where that's not
Mhm.
super prevalent is like I imagine that was difficult, but yeah, it's been like a huge success. I feel like at least from an outsider's point of
Oh,
view,
100%. Yeah.
people have wanted this and they want this, which is awesome. um what like okay, so what after starting that, I know you had some recent news, some recent ventures. Tell me a little bit about kind of what you're working on right now.
Oh, absolutely, man. So like, um, nothing better than to like disrupt the entire healthcare industry, right? Three dudes from the middle of Nebraska. We are taking on the way data is like moved around healthcare. And so right now, the way it works is like when you go to your doctor and then you go to another doctor and then you go to a clinic, now you have 3 separate copies or instances of your health record. And so a little bit's over here, a little bit's here, and a little bit's there, right? You actually have ownership over those records, but you do not have control. And so what we're building is the conduit called Login.health that literally like connects all of these doctors together. and gives the patient not only control, but also possession of their records. And so, uh, who better to like possess that than the person that cares the most about it, which is you, man.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So like, because right now, yeah, I mean, I don't even know like my health records. Like, what I don't even know where I'd go first, like to find out anything.
Yep.
Is it usually like you have to call your doctor, or you have to
Oh, yeah.
like go and like, is that how it works now versus like it should be cohesive, right? Like, to your point, if we own them, like it should be something we have easy access to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And like the entire healthcare industry is built around the patient, right? But
Right.
for whatever reason, and I think it has a lot to do with like how the software systems came about over time. I mean, we didn't have cell phones until fairly, recent, right? That could store enough data to be able to house a health record. But now that's nothing. It's almost nothing in on an iPhone. And so we now have the ability to do that. But yeah, it needs to be cohesive. It needs to be one record. It needs to be possessed by the person who ultimately owns it. And like that's what healthcare wants, man. Like that's where HIPAA, the High Tech Act, all of these like government kind of processes and these like government movements have been around protecting the patient. And so, like, yeah, let's do it. It's time.
Right. Yeah. How so? Where are you guys at in the process? Like, you and two other guys from Nebraska are just
Yep.
taking this on. Like, what's been the lead up to this point?
Yeah, absolutely. We started with like healthcare billing. We got a little bit of funding to do that. Realized that like that just was not a big enough, hairy enough problem for us. We decided to take on more. We're very high like disruptor profiles, and so that led us down this path of personal health records. We just recently we're finishing up. We're literally in the last week of In Motion, which is an incredible resource that Nebraska has. And we've gone through this business accelerator that came with $100,000 in investment and a whole bunch of focus. Um, so actually this week, on Thursday, we're going to be in Omaha with 5 other companies presenting Login.health and kind of like releasing it to the world. And
Oh,
so, yeah, that's where we're at right now. After that, in at the beginning, middle of June, we're going to launch the platform so that people like you can actually jump on and start building a health record. It's just going to get better after that. And then, yeah, it's to the races.
wow. Do you have to like partner with like health organizations to like implement this, or is this something that's more like uh user focused? Like, I'm curious how the implementation works.
Yeah, 100%. The we absolutely want to partner with health organizations. We want to partner with developers and we want to partner with like payers, like across the entire ecosystem. The patient is the one person that kind of traverses everything, right? The broker, the insurance companies, the providers, all of them interact with the patient, and that's their conduit to connecting to each other. And so, yeah, we're starting with the patient, but we're going to partner with all of these other organizations. And well, we want to cause this kind of like swell in Nebraska where healthcare is just done different and done better. And we use technology to our advantage and not as a crutch. So,
Very cool. I'll pivot a little bit. I'm curious, like your take on some of this. So, like, obviously, you're in Central Nebraska. You care deeply about like investing in this area and just like the
mhm.
growing the entrepreneurship culture. Like, why do you feel that way? Like, and what do you see as being uh, some of the really strengths of Central Nebraska for entrepreneurs?
Okay, so those are like, yeah, excellent. Those are two separate questions. I'm going to start with why. Uh, because we're all lonely, man. Like, we want to find other people like us and entrepreneurs, like developers, tech people. They just have a great energy, and I love making friends. I love being relational and like building stuff. So yeah, so answer number one, because I have to, like, I just love it too much. um the other side of it is why Nebraska. And your first reaction is like startups, that's Silicon Valley, right? However, Silicon Valley is like incredibly saturated. And on top of that, in the value for dollar in Silicon Valley or the coast, either coast, is incredibly low. Whereas in Nebraska, if you look at the stats, I think it's literally like 1 in 9 people in Nebraska own a business, which is insane. And so,
Wow.
think about it, like you're walking down the mall, since we're getting a new mall. It's like, hey, there's business owners all around, right? A lot of that has to do with the agricultural economy, but that has created like incredible value for dollar when you're building something. Like we can build bigger startups, maybe not so much faster, but definitely a lot more affordable. But now with like technology and COVID kind of showed us that we could do everything remote. Investor dollars are starting to move inward because they're sick of just pouring money down the coasts. And so yeah, all of those things point to like the Midwest is kind of the place to be for building startups in the future.
That is exciting to hear. I would completely agree. Like I feel that way
Mhm.
too. I think there is like a lot of opportunity here that people don't realize. If I'm a if I'm a young professional, for those people out there who are like maybe from here or just moved
Yes.
here by chance for whatever reason, like what's your recommendation to them to like get involved slash become an entrepreneur business owner around Central Nebraska?
Oh, absolutely. So like number one advice like across the board, and I'm stealing this from Techstars, is they have this motto of give first. So that fits really well with our Midwestern style of like, put other people first, put their needs before yourself. And what you'll find out is that like your needs will start to be met. So if you're going out and you're connecting other people, just like you're doing now, to other people, you're going to get connected to other people. To go even deeper, like if you put other people's needs and you put them above yourself, just in life in general. So like that's number one advice is like just start, like grab a shovel, start digging.
Yeah, I really like that. I do feel like there's so much merit to that, and like seeing that play out, it is kind of like it's almost more intuitive for like
Mhm.
the Midwestern mindset to do that. But it is like, yeah, I've definitely found in my own personal life too. It's harder. It can be harder sometimes these days to like network, especially
Mhm.
like since there's so much going on virtually. But there are actually even in some ways more opportunities for networking because of like how normalized
Oh
like
yeah.
Zoom is and social media connections, and like we can get connected to really anyone we want if we find out different ways or just like stay in tune on what's happening
Yeah.
in social media, reach out, like you said, it never hurts to ask somebody, hey, let's grab coffee, let's meet or whatever. um what's kind of in the future for you regarding this current startup, kind of what you're looking forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking forward to, we are definitely in like a season of incredible growth. And so we're going to see more developers coming on. We're going to see more healthcare agencies coming on. Where we're starting is like we're helping out with insurance brokers and employers because they really need health records really bad. And so, I'm looking forward to seeing our growth, watching our bank account grow. That gives us more runway. And if we have more runway, then we have more confidence, then we can, build faster, right? We can hire quicker. And so it's kind of that approach of like what I'm excited for Nebraska is, and I'm not trying to be I'm trying to, say this in the most humble way possible, but we are a healthcare company changing data. And so we potentially could be one of the first like $1 billion exit companies in Nebraska. And whether we get there or not, that's our mindset. That's where we're going. And I would love for a company that just kind of blitz scales like crazy in Nebraska, and all the good that's going to do. Like, yeah.
Right.
So uh,
Right.
showing that growth, getting other people inspired is kind of the core of it.
Yeah. Who and you said so you have two other partners who are kind of focused in on doing this. Tell me a little bit about them.
Yeah, absolutely. So Chase and Jeff. Chase is the CEO of a nonprofit organization in Grand Island that works in behavioral health, and then Jeff is the former CEO of United Healthcare, is Medicare plan in Nebraska, and so yeah, we've just got a powerhouse team of like disruptor profiles that kind of know everybody in healthcare in Nebraska. So
That's super cool. Do you see your startup like officing in the area, or are you going to stay like remote as you are right now, or like how do you see that playing out?
whatever needs to happen, man. Like
Yeah.
I know that's not a fair question, but I'm a huge fan of like team, and I've been a part of like remote long enough that like I'm ready to just get to know people in
Yeah.
person. And so like I would love to build an office, but
Just
if
depends.
if
Yeah.
it is what it is, right? Yeah.
Right. That makes sense. I guess where else do you want to talk about, John? Because any other areas of your life we haven't covered? I feel like you're definitely like you feel like a connector to me. Is that one of your strengths?
Um, I don't know. Like I'm very eager to connect to people, and so I like connecting to people because then I get to hear like all of their like things they're working on, and that probably gets me more excited sometimes than what I'm doing in a day. And so, but yeah, no, I love connecting people. Nebraska is a great place to connect because like the one thing we didn't talk about yet is like speed of network. Like
Mm.
let's say you want to get to all of the venture capital in Nebraska. You can do that. Like you just need to like show up, make connections, talk to people. That doesn't exist in other places. And so um yeah, uh I would say I'm more of probably a starter, disruptor. Like I just like to see things move forward, see new things. So
Definitely. Where can people kind of keep up with uh not only is it health.login or login.health?
Login.health. Yeah.
Login.health. Where can people keep up with login.health, but also just you kind of personally, professionally, what you've been working on?
Yeah, jump on LinkedIn, look me up, Jon Rhoades, or Google Login.health, and you should find me. So I can send you some, or you can put it in the show notes or whatever the
Okay,
podcast thing
perfect.
to do is. So
Definitely.
um,
What's I should ask this too. So since you're in the area, you're in Aurora, but you spend a lot of time in Grand Island. Like, what are you most looking forward to with all the new development in Grand Island? Places to eat, things to do. What are you excited about?
oh, absolutely, like that Conestoga Mall area. That's I don't know if it's still Conestoga Mall or not, but like um, I know there's like indoor pickleball coming. Like
Mm,
yeah, just more options, more fun stuff. We haven't had a movie theater in years, and
I know.
so yeah, we've been going to like York and Hastings, and it's like the options are limited for
Hmm.
stuff like that. So
Yeah. No, we're pumped about that too. We haven't been to the Conestoga. I think they're kind of Conestoga Marketplace.
is it?
Um, yeah, we haven't been to the new like theater slash like arcade, but we were at the Carter's, the Old Navy, like some of those stores over there, and yeah, we're super pumped. Like the indoor pickleball would be cool. Chick-fil-A, we're super pumped about Chick-fil-A. That's like one of our favorite places to eat. So
That's the go-to. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, this might get me kicked out of church, but I'm a Canes fan, so
I
I
love
don't know
Canes
what to
too.
say. But
I love Canes too. You can't go wrong with it with either of them. I feel like so. Well, cool,
yeah,
John. Thanks
100%.
so much for taking the time. I appreciate it. Just getting to know you. I appreciate you reaching out and you help connect me with some individuals and just so I just want to thank you for that. Like it's just been good to get to know you and excited for people in the area to hear this one. Just big things happening for you in the startup and just Central
100%.
Nebraska in general. So appreciate it.
Yeah, well, make me look good. So, all right.
Will do. All right. Thanks, John.
Talk to you later. Thank you.